today's topic is nutrition for the infant. So why? What is the reason for putting this subject or putting this topic in the subject? Because there are a different kind of age groups, and in the different kind of age groups there will be the specifically nutritional requirement will be there. So when the baby is born in the world, so the newborns are there. So newborn, that means from day 1 of born to the 1 month. So in this age group the nutritional requirement will be the different. After that the infants will come. So what is infants? Infant, that means the baby who is having age of 1 month to 1 year. After that the second age group come, that is the toddler. Toddler, that means age between 1 year to 3 years. And then after preschool children come, school going children are coming, adolescents may come, then after adults and the old age one. So in different age groups, in the different age of our life, we require different nutritional requirement. So in today's lecture we will discuss about the nutritional requirement of the infants. So the infancy. So what is the infancy? Infancy is a period of rapid growth. So during the infancy period, that means during 1 month to 1 year, that means between these years or this month, the baby is growing very rapidly. There will be the massive rapid growth and development is occur in the infancy period. During the first year of life, the infant grows and develops more rapidly than at any other time in the life. Okay, so when we are comparing other ages or other years of our life, infancy is the period in which the baby is rapidly growing, very fastly growing, as well as it is developing more rapidly than another years of the life. This is evident from the fact that totally helpless newborn child who is completely dependent in the mother. Okay, so in this age group, that means in the newborn and infancy period, the child is totally dependent on his or her mother. So the mother having responsibility to feed her child in a better manner, so that there will be the prevention of the malnutrition or any another nutritional problems. A full-term baby has the ability to digest simple protein and the carbohydrate. So we have seen different kind of proteins as well as the carbohydrates. So there are simple carbohydrate and the complex carbohydrate, whereas the protein are also divided into the so many other categories. So in this period, that is especially in the infancy period, the baby is only able to digest simple protein and the carbohydrate. They are not able to digest heavy, that means complex protein and the carbohydrate. Next is recommended dietary allowances of the infant. Okay, so what is the dietary allowances of the infant? So in a one day, how much protein requirement will be there, how much calorie the infant is required, how many carbohydrate requirements are there. So there are certain dietary requirement, or we can say the recommended dietary allowances for the infant. So in that, in early infancy, most of the nutrients requirements are met by the breast milk, and weaning food should start by 4 to 5 months. Okay, so in the infant period, that means if the baby having age of 1 month to 1 year, so in this age, between this age, the baby is fully dependent on his mother, and the baby is fully dependent on the breast milk and as well as the weaning diet after 4 to 5 months. So first we will see how much energy is required by the infant in a day. So the first one is the energy. the energy requirements of the infants are much higher. Why there will be the so much high requirement of the energy? Because in the infancy period there will be the rapid growth and development is taking place. So to satisfy or to fulfill the body's requirement for the growth and development, infant require more energy. Infant require 120 kilocalorie per kg of the body weight. So if the baby's weight is 1 kg, they will require 120 kilocalories. So same, you need to calculate the weight of the baby into 120 kilocalories. So you can get the idea that how much energy is required by the infant. Next is the protein requirements of the infant. So as we have discussed the energy requirement, the infant required 120 kilocalorie per their body weight. So same like that, they require the different protein amount. So in an infant, protein requirements are higher. So all the nutrient requirement will be the higher in the infancy period. Why? There is only one reason, that is in that infancy period the baby having more growth and development. So because of that reason they require all the nutrients like calorie, vitamin, minerals, carbohydrate and the protein in the higher amount. In the initial months, the human milk provides the essential amino acids which is needed for the growth. So in the initial month, that means the infancy period, that means 1 month to 1 year. So in the initial 1 to 4 month, there will be the higher amino acid content is there in the breast milk, and that amino acids are essential for the growth and development of the baby. Now here are the protein requirement of the different age in the infant period. Like from 0 to 3 months, the baby require 2.3 grams per kg body weight of the protein. When the baby is coming in the age of 3 to 6 months, the baby require 1.8 grams per kg of their body weight, the protein. In 6 to 9 months, the baby requirement of the protein is 1.8 grams per kg body weight, same like this. And in 9 to 12 months, the baby requirement of the protein is 1.5 grams per kg per body weight. So you can remember, in 0 to 3 months, the protein requirement is 0.3 grams per kg. In 3 to 6 months, the protein requirement is 1.8 gram per kg. In 6 to 9 months is also same like 3 to 6 months, same 1.8 grams per kg. In 9 to 12 months, the protein requirement is 1.5 grams per kg per body weight. Next one is the minerals requirement. So as we have know, there are two types of minerals, minor minerals and the major minerals. So both of these minerals are required in the infancy period, and minerals are helping our body to, and they are providing protection to the body from the foreign material. So rapid growth requires large quantities of the minerals, especially calcium and the phosphorus. Okay, so as the baby is developing in the physical rate, so there will be the changes in the height and changes in the weight. So also the baby, as we all know that we are born, we have very small structure, but when we are growing, our structure, our body structure is also expanding. So the body structure is depending on the bones. Yes, so whenever we are developing, our bones size is also increasing. So we all know that bones are made up of the calcium and the phosphorus. So in the infancy period, there will be the rapid growth and development is occurring in the body. So that's why we require, and the baby is requiring more calcium and the phosphorus for their growth and development. Next is a vitamins. So there are two types of vitamins: water soluble vitamins and the fat soluble vitamin. There are 4 fat soluble vitamins, that is vitamin A, D, E and K, whereas there are 2 types of water soluble vitamin, that is vitamin B complex and vitamin C. So what the vitamin requirement of the infant? Vitamins are essential for the rapid growth of the infant. Breast milk provides sufficient vitamins. Cow milk is deficient in vitamin C and the D. So if we are providing exclusive breastfeeding to the infant, the breast milk is containing all the necessary vitamins to the child. But if we are providing cow milk or bottle milk to the child, so that type of milk is having deficiency of vitamin C and D. Next is a fat requirement. So about 35 to 45% calories are provided by the fat in the initial stage of the infancy. So in a starting phase of the infancy, the maximum, that means 35 to 45% of the calories are provided by the fatty foods. Supplementary food provide fat in the later stage. So in the later stage, that means after 6 months of age, that is a later stage, we are providing supplementary food. The supplementary food is also known as a weaning food or the complementary food. So in the weaning food, we are providing the fat. So and the initial stage, that means period of 1 to 6 months, and later stage, that means after 6 months of age. Now next one is a requirement of the carbohydrate. So lactose in human milk provides 25 to 55% of the calories. So lactose is one of the type of carbohydrate which is present in the human milk and which is providing 25 to 55% of the calories. Next one is a fluid requirement. So a water intake in a full-term infant is 60 ml per kg body weight on a day 1. So when the baby is born, so on day 1, on the first day of his or her life, the baby requires 60 ml of the water, or we can say the fluid, in comparison to their weight. The fluid requirement is increased to 150 to 170 ml per kg by 3 to 4 days. So at day 1 the requirement is 60 ml, whereas in day 3 to 4 the requirement of fluid is increasing to 150 to 170 ml. So we have discussed about the dietary, or we can say the recommended allowances of the nutrients in the infant. So in that we have discussed about the energy requirement, protein requirement, requirement of the carbohydrate, minerals, vitamins and the fluids. Next topic is diet and the feeding pattern. So what is the dietary and the feeding pattern of the infant? So the first food for the infant is mother's milk. Okay. So when the child is taking birth in this world, the first food we are providing to the infant, that is mother's milk. Infant grows well on exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of the life. So it is recommended by the WHO. The World Health Organization has given the recommendation to just only providing breastfeeding to the child up to 6 months of the age. It is beneficial to child not only during this period but also in later years of the life. So it is beneficial for the child not only in the infancy period but it is beneficial to the child in the later years of their life. Why? Because the breast milk is containing so many immunoglobulins, so many immunity products, so that by having the breastfeeding, the child is getting the stronger immunity. So it is not only helping in the infancy period, but that immunity booster or the strong immunity is helping the child in the later stage of their life. Now we'll discuss about the breastfeeding. So what is it? A breastfeeding is the feeding of an infant or young child with the breast milk directly from the female human breast via lactation, not from a baby bottle or other container. So it is one type of feeding which is provided directly by the mother or via using the lactational method, and in that we are not using any kind of bottle or any other container. So we'll discuss about the feeding. Breastfeeding is one of the most effective ways to ensure child health and the survival. So as we all know that the milk is containing all necessary nutrient. Not only nutrient, it is also containing various kind of immunoglobulins, so that what happened, by having the breast milk, the child is getting stronger immune system, and if the child is having stronger immune system, it will help the child to ensure the optimal health status as well as the child survival, and it will create a stronger immune system so that the immunity system will fight against the various infectious disease. Breast milk is the ideal food for the infant. It is a safe, it is a clean and contains antibodies which help to protect against many common childhood illnesses. Okay, so the breast milk is the ideal food for the infant. It is a safe because it is directly secreting from the breast, from the mammary glands. It is a clean, there is a no chances of the contamination, and the main and the major important thing is it is containing the antibodies, and antibodies are helping our body to fight against the various disease, and it is protecting our body against the common childhood illnesses. Breast milk provides all the energy and nutrients that the infant need for the first month of the life. So as I have mentioned over here, it is containing all the necessary nutrients as well as energy that is required or that is needed by the infant during the first month of their life, and it continues to provide up to half or more of the child's nutritional needs during the second half of the first year. Okay, so after 6 months of age, the breast milk is continue to provide the energy and the nutritional requirement of the child, and up to 1/3 during the second year of the life. A breastfed children perform better on intelligence test, are less likely to be overweight or obese, and less prone to diabetes later in the life. So here are the advantages, or we can say the benefits is gotten by the children who is totally breastfed. So they have the better intelligence than compared to the children who is not properly fed. They have less likely or they have less chances to having the overweight or obesity, and they are less chances or less prone to the diabetes in the later years of their life. Women who breastfeed also have the reduced risk of breast and the ovarian cancer. So by providing breastfeeding, it is not just only beneficial to the child, but it is also beneficial for the mother also. Why? Because if she is providing exclusive breastfeeding to her child, so that is helping us to reduce the chances or reduce the occurrence of the breast cancer and the ovarian cancer. Next, we will discuss that is nutrients in the breast milk. So as I have mentioned that it is containing all the necessary nutrients. So which nutrients are present in the breast milk? So first and foremost, that is proteins. So human milk contains two types of protein. So a breast milk is containing two types of protein, whey protein and the casein. Approximately 60% of the whey protein while 40% of the casein protein is present in the human milk. Next is the lactoferrin. Next nutrient which is present in the breast milk, that is the lactoferrin. So what is the function of lactoferrin? Lactoferrin inhibits the growth of iron dependent bacteria in the gastrointestinal tract. So you can highlight this area. It is inhibiting the growth of iron dependent bacteria which is present in the gastrointestinal tract. So that is the lactoferrin. Next is a secretory IgA. Secretory IgA, that means immunoglobulin A. So the secretory IgA also work to protect the infant from viruses and the bacteria, specifically those that the baby, mom and the family are exposed to. Okay, so why here they have mentioned mom and the family? Because virus and bacterial disease are infectious. So if the mother is getting any kind of viral or bacterial disease, there are chances to transmit to the baby. Okay, but the breast milk is containing secretory IgA, so that is helping the baby to get rid of the viral and bacterial infections. So it is protecting the infant from the viral and bacterial infection. It also helps to protect against E. coli and the possibly allergies. So it is also helping infant to protect against the E. coli bacteria and as well as from the different kind of allergies. Other immunoglobulins including IgG and IgM in the breast milk also help protect against bacterial and the viral infection. So not only immunoglobulin A but also IgG, that is immunoglobulin G, and immunoglobulin M, which is also present in the breast milk, and that is also protecting the infant from the bacterial and the viral infections. Next nutrient present, that is the lysozyme. Lysozyme is an effective or enzyme that protects the infants against the E. coli and the salmonella infection. So lysozyme, that is the enzyme which is protecting the infant from the E. coli bacteria and from the salmonella typhi bacteria. It also promotes the growth of healthy intestinal flora and has anti-inflammatory function. So lysozyme enzyme is also promoting the healthy intestinal flora, that means the intestinal environment, and it is also having anti-inflammatory properties. So it is helping to prevent the inflammation. Next nutrients present in the breast milk, that is fats. So fat, it is necessary for brain development, absorption of fat soluble vitamin, and is a primary calorie source. So the fat is required specifically for the development of the brain, as well as it is also needed for the absorption of the fat soluble vitamin, that is vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E and vitamin K, and the fat is primary source of the calorie in the infants. Long chain fatty acids are needed for the brain, retina and the nervous system development. Okay, so there are two types of fatty acids we have seen: short chain fatty acids and the long chain fatty acids. So especially these long chain fatty acids are needed for the development of the brain, development of the retina in the eyes, and the development of the nervous system. They are deposited in the brain during the last trimester of the pregnancy and are also found in the breast milk. So these long chain fatty acids are deposited during the third trimester of the pregnancy. So there are 3 trimesters are there in the pregnancy, first, second and third. So the duration of the first trimester is from 1 month to 3 months. The second trimester is from 4 months to 6 months, and the last one is from 7 to 9. So during this phase, during the 7, 8 and 9 month of pregnancy, these long chain fatty acids are deposited in the brain of the fetus. Next is vitamins. So the amount and types of vitamins in the breast milk is directly related to the mother's vitamin intake. So if the mother is taking adequate amount of the vitamin, it will directly secreted via the breast milk. But if the mother is not taking adequate amount of vitamin, the baby is not able to have that particular vitamin. So the amount and the types of vitamin in the breast milk is only depends on the mother's vitamin intake. Fat soluble vitamin including vitamin A, D, E and K are all vital to infants' health. So these vitamins are very essential for the healthy life of the infants. Water soluble vitamins such as vitamin C, riboflavin, niacin and pantothenic acids are also essential for the infant's health. Next nutrient, that is the carbohydrate. So lactose is the primary carbohydrate found in the human milk. So as we have discussed previously, lactose is one of the carbohydrate which is present in the human milk. Lactose help to decrease the amount of unhealthy bacteria in the stomach, which improve the absorption of the calcium, phosphorus and the magnesium. So what is the function of lactose in infant's life? So lactose is decreasing the unhealthy bacteria in the stomach or in the GI tract, and it is improving the absorption of the calcium, phosphorus and the magnesium minerals. It helps to fight disease and promotes the growth of healthy bacteria in the stomach. So it is removing the unhealthy bacteria and it is promoting the growth of healthy bacteria in the stomach, which is helping to fight against the various gastrointestinal infections. Next one is the breastfeeding. So what is it? So here is the spelling of breast, and here in this side there is the spelling of feeding. So the one letters are suggesting the different criteria. So first we will discuss about the breast, that is be raised for best for the baby. So breastfeeding is one of the best or ideal method of providing nutrients to the baby. It is best for the baby. R raised for, it is reducing the incidence of the allergy. So if the mother is providing adequate breastfeeding to their child, so by having the breast milk, there will be the reducing the chances of getting any kind of allergies. E raised for economical. So there is no cost. Okay, there is no cost of the breast milk. It is economically safe and sound. A raised for antibodies rich. So a breastfeeding or breast milk is higher in the antibodies, and antibodies is protecting infant's body from various viral and bacterial infections. S for stool never constipated. So if the baby is exclusively breastfed, so there will be the less chances of the constipation. And the last T is for temperature always correct and constant. So the temperature of the breast milk is always correct and it is always constant, same like before. There is a no hot or no cold in the breast milk. So this is about the breast, and now we'll discuss about the feeding. So F is for fresh. So whenever the baby is sucking, all the time the breast milk is in a fresh nature. E raised for emotional bonding. It is helping to create much more emotional bonding between the mother and the baby. Another E is for easily available. So it is easily available anytime, anywhere. If the mother is with the baby and the baby is with the mother, so anytime we can provide the feeding to the child. D is for digest easily. So the breast milk composition are like that, it is easily digestible for the infants. I is for immediately available. So as I told you, it is easily available at all the time, in all the place. N for nutritionally balanced, because it is containing all necessary nutrients in a very good or very proper proportion. So it is nutritionally balanced and the sound. And last, the G is for the gastroenteritis less. So if the baby is having the breast milk, so there is less chances to develop any kind of gastrointestinal infections. So this is the breastfeeding. So you can remember the words to get the better idea about the breastfeeding. So B is for best for the baby, R for reducing the incidence of the allergy, E is for economic, A is for antibody rich, S for stool never constipated, and T for temperature always correct and constant. That is about the breast. Now it's come to the feeding. F is for fresh, E is for emotional bonding, another E is for easily available, D is for digest easily, I is for immediately available, N is for nutritionally balanced, and G is for gastroenteritis is less. Now the types of breast milk. So there are various types of the breast milk. So first type is pre-colostrum milk. So what is a pre-colostrum? Pre-colostrum, what is the properties of pre-colostrum milk? It is a thick in the nature. It is a lemon yellow colored liquid secreted in second half of the pregnancy. Okay, so after 6 months of the pregnancy, from the breast, pre-colostrum milk is secreted, that is thick in the nature and having lemon yellow color. Next type is colostrum milk. So what is a colostrum milk? Colostrum is thick in the nature, it is in the bright yellow colored liquid secreted during the first 3 to 6 days of after the delivery of the baby. So this pre-colostrum milk is secreted before the delivery of the baby. After the baby is delivered, the first milk is secreted from the breast, that is the colostrum milk. So it is thick in the nature, it is having bright yellow color liquid which is secreted for 3 to 6 days after the delivery of the baby. The third type of breast milk, that is a transition milk. So during second week that follows colostrum stage, the milk increase in quantity and changes are found in the appearance and the composition. So for 2 weeks, first 2 weeks, colostrum milk is secreted, and after that it is followed by the transition milk. So what is the difference in transition milk? The quantity of the breast milk is increased, as well as there is the changes in the appearance and the compositions. The fourth type of milk, that is a preterm milk. So milk produced by women who has delivered prematurely. Okay, so before 9 months. So generally what happen at 9 months the delivery of the baby is occurring. But before 9 months, if the mother is deliver the baby, that is a premature baby. So during this premature birth of the baby, the preterm milk is secreted from the mother's breast. Fifth type is mature milk. So mature milk increase in quantity and contain all the nutrients needed for the healthy physical and mental development of the baby, though it appears more watery than the cow milk. Okay, so mature milk is also increase in the quantities and contain all nutrients needed for proper physical and mental development of the infant. But what is the difference? It is more watery than the cow's milk also. But that doesn't matter, it is a watery, but it is containing all the necessary nutrient which is required for the proper physical and mental development. The sixth type is foremilk. The milk that comes at the start of a feed is called foremilk. Okay, so these two milks are there, hind milk and the foremilk. So foremilk is coming at the starting of the feeding, whereas hind milk is coming at ending phase of the feeding. The milk is watery, has low level of fat and is high in a lactose, protein, vitamins and the minerals. So foremilk is secreted at the starting of the breastfeeding, that's why it is called as a foremilk, and it is watery in the nature and it is containing low level of the fat but high levels of the lactose, protein, vitamins and the minerals. Next is a hind milk. So hind milk, the milk that comes later in the feed, is 4 times rich in a fat, which make it appear more whiter than the foremilk. Okay, so hind milk is coming later, that means at the end of the feeding process, and which is much more higher, 4 times higher or rich in a fat. So compared to the foremilk, the fat composition is higher in the hind milk, 4 times higher in the hind milk, which make the appear of the hind milk more whiter than the foremilk. So these all are the types of the breast milk. Next topic is weaning or complementary feeding. So weaning is what? Weaning is we are providing supplementary or complementary feeding to the child after 6 months of age. So we will discuss what is weaning. So first, that is a definition of weaning. So weaning, it is the process of gradual and progressive transfer of the baby from breastfeeding to the usual family diet. Okay, so this weaning diet is started at 6 months of age. When the baby is coming to the half of the age, that means 6 months of age, after that we are starting the weaning diet. From day 1 to 6 months, we are just providing breastfeeding. But when the baby is coming to 6 months of age, we are providing breastfeeding plus weaning diet. So there are 3 names of the weaning diet, supplementary diet and the complementary diet. So it is a process of gradual and progressive transfer of the baby from breastfeeding to the usual family diet. So next is the quality of the complementary feeding or food. So as I have told you, there are 3 names for the weaning. First one is a complementary food, weaning food, and the moreover is a supplementary food. So these 3 are the same thing. So what is the qualities of the weaning food? So whatever food we are giving to the child, it should be clean, fresh and the hygienic. So whenever we are providing any food, either it will be the mashed fruits or vegetables or dal rice, it should be clean, it should be washable, it is fresh and it is unhygienic. That means it is not unhygienic, it should be the hygienic one. It is easy to prepare at home with the available food items. So whatever food we are giving to the child, it should be easily available in our home so that we can prepare it easily. It is cheap. So you provide just a basic food items to the baby in the complementary food. It is easily digestible and palatable for the child. So whatever food we are giving to the child, it should be easily digestible and palatable to the child, because the immune system as well as the gastrointestinal tract is not properly formed in the infant. So if we are providing solid food to the baby, so there are chances that baby is unable to digest it. Okay, so easily digestible food we should provide, and palatable, because the baby does not have teeth in their mouth. So easily palatable food we are providing. It is high in the energy and contain all the nutrients necessary for the baby. Okay, so whatever food we are providing, it should be high in the energy and it contain all the necessary nutrients for the infant. Next is important points to be considered in the weaning diet, that is, introduce only one food at a time. Allow the infant to become familiar with the same food before starting another. Okay, so at one point of time, you should introduce only one food item to the baby. Do not give changeable items to the baby. Okay, why? Because it will create unlikeliness or unfamiliarness to the baby. So once the baby become familiar to the same food item, after that slowly you start another food item. Okay, so if I give example for this, so when we are starting the weaning diet, we are providing mashed potato to the baby. So provide it for a few days, the same item, mashed potatoes, and if you want to provide dal and rice to the baby, take some time. If the baby is familiar to the rice and if the baby is familiar to the mashed potato, then after you should provide the dal rice to the baby. Give a very small quantity of any new food. So first, provide only a small quantity of the new food. If you are providing mashed banana to the baby for the first time, so you should only provide small quantity to the baby to check the likes or dislikes of the baby. Use very thin consistency when starting the solid food. So when we are starting the solid food like providing bread, providing roti to the child, so first you should provide in very thin consistency so that the baby is easily palatable or palating the food items or able to chew the food items, because there is no teeth in baby's mouth. So if we are providing solid items, you should give it in a thin consistency. Allow the child to feed himself. Okay, so you should allow the child to have their food by their own self. Never force the child to eat more food. Okay, if the baby's stomach is full, do not force him or her to have the more food, because it will create the intolerance in the stomach. So to prevent all that problem, do not force your child to eat more food. Consider the likes and dislikes of the child. So whatever food you are providing to your baby, you should consider the baby's likes and the dislikes. There should be more choices for the food. So do not provide only one food to the child in a whole day. Give varieties of the food. Allow the child to take food independently. So same like this, allow the baby to have their food by their own self. Next is principles of weaning diet. So there are certain principles of the weaning. So milk is the main food of the infant. Okay, so as I have told you, in the infancy period, not only we are providing weaning diet, but with the side by side we are providing breastfeeding and the weaning diet. And when we are providing weaning diet at 6 months of age, so these two we are providing at the 6 months of age. So that's why milk is also a main food or main ingredient of the infant's food. A small amount of new food to be given in the beginning and gradually the amount to be increased. So in the beginning, so whenever we are starting the weaning diet, so you should only provide small amount of food. And when the baby is familiar to that food, the amount should be increased. So gradually we are increasing the amount of food. A single weaning food is added at a time. So at one time only give one food. So suppose in the afternoon, in the noon, just provide water of dal, or we can say the rice. Okay, so at one time only provide one food item. New food should be given when infant is hungry. So when the baby is hungry, you should take the experiment and you should give the new food to the baby. Because if the baby is hungry, he or she can eat anything, whatever you will give to them. So new food should be given when the infant is more hungry. Delayed weaning results in malnutrition. So ideally weaning is started at 6 months of age. But if you are not providing weaning at 6 months of age, that is delayed weaning, you are providing weaning diet at 9 months of age or 8 months of age, so that may result in the malnutrition. Observe the infant for any weaning related problems. Okay, so if whatever food you are providing, that means a weaning food you are providing, that is creating any problem in the infant, so that you may counter check. Suppose if you are providing some kind of solid food and that is not able to digest it by the infant, so that kind of problem you should counter react. Weaning should be started by 6 months of age, and breastfeeding is continued beyond 2 years of the age. Next is characteristics of the weaning food. So a weaning food should be clean and safe, and as well as it is hygienic. So whatever food you are preparing for the weaning diet, so it should be clean one, it should be safe for the consumption, and it should be hygienic. Always wash hands and utensils before preparing the food. So whenever you are preparing the food for the infant, you should wash your hands and you should wash the utensils also before starting the preparation of food making. Cooked food should be properly covered. So whatever food you have cooked for the infant, it should be properly covered with the tight lid, because it is creating, if you are not covering the food, there are chances for the parasitic or the vector borne infections, because so many flies and mosquitoes are sitting on the food and that may create the problems. So whatever food you have cooked, it should be covered. Given food as fresh to the child. So you should provide fresh food to the child. Do not provide unfresh food to the child. Food should be soft in the consistency. To get consistency, add fats and oils. Okay, so whatever food you are providing, it is the soft in a nature. It should be soft in a consistency. So to make the food soft in the consistency, add some fats and oil in the food. It should be balanced food. So it contains all nutrient in proper proportion. So if the all nutrients are present in the food in an equal proportion, it should be the balanced food. It should be palatable and easy to digest. So whatever food we have prepared, it should be easily digestible to the infant as well as it should be easily palatable. Always include locally available and low cost food items. Okay, so always prefer locally available food items and low cost food items. Temperature of the food should neither hot nor too cool. Okay, so whatever food you are providing, it is not too much hot, not too much cold. So you should maintain proper temperature of the weaning food. The food item should be rich in calories and adequate protein, vitamins and the minerals. So whatever food items you are giving in the weaning diet, it should be having higher amount of calories, protein, vitamins and the minerals. It should be free from artificial color and the flavors. So in the baby's food, we are not adding any kind of artificial colors and the flavors, because sometimes the artificial colors and flavors may create the allergic reactions. So to prevent such kind of reactions, we are not adding any kind of artificial substances. It should be free from anti-nutritional factors. Okay, anti-nutritional factors, that means it should be nutritionally sound one. There is no other things are present in the food which is anti-nutritional. Now some of the food items which we are giving in the different age. So weaning food for the 6 to 9 months of the baby. So the baby who is having age of 6 to 9 months, so in that what we are providing, we are giving soft mixture of rice, dal, pulses, mashed potatoes, bread or roti soaked in the milk, mashed fruits like banana, mango and the papaya. So in 6 to 9 months, so in the beginning of the 6th month, we are providing mashed potatoes, mashed fruits like papaya, banana and the mangoes. Moreover, we are also giving the bread or roti which is soaked in the milk. We are also providing dal, rice, soft mixture of dal and rice, soft mixture of pulses and so on. During 6 to 8 months of the life, we are introducing curd. By 9 months of age, we are giving biscuits to the child and continuing the breastfeeding. So this is the food items we are providing during 6 to 9 months of the age. Next is weaning for 9 months to 12 months of age. So in that, for the non-vegetarian family, they should give fish and meat to their child. It is soft in the nature. Infant can eat everything cooked at home. Condiment should be minimum. So in this age period, the teeth are also erupted. So in this age period, the infant may eat all the things which is cooked in the home, which is continued by the breastfeeding. And weaning at 12 months to 18 months, so can take all the foods cooked in the family. So after or in the 12 month or 18 month of age, they can eat whatever prepared in the home. So that's all about the weaning diet. And according to the ICMR, so what is ICMR? ICMR, that is Indian Council for Medical Research. So ICMR have done various kind of research and they have given the recommendation of the toddler's calorie and protein requirement. So a toddler, is the age group of 1 year to 3 years of the life. So 1 first year of the age, second and third. So these 3 years are considered as a toddler period. So in this period, in the toddler period, the calorie requirement of the toddler is 1220 kilocalorie and the protein requirement is 22 grams. Okay, so the calorie requirement of the toddler is 1220 kilocalories, whereas the protein requirement is 22 grams. Thank you.